fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, you know, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. You know, I just know, you know, character take you a long way, and I just don't agree with the character, you know what I mean, actions that.
The problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want to fight for big money, and there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money.
Terence Crawford lashed out at Floyd Mayweather after sparring footage surfaced online, saying he's unhappy with some of Floyd's actions. Crawford made it clear he expected more respect from someone who calls himself a friend. He voiced his disappointment and frustration over their private training moments being shared publicly, adding that such behavior shouldn't come from another champion.
I had disliked a lot of things that he was saying, you know, and how he was acting, being that, you know, me, I'm a real individual. I just felt like, you know, we was all cool at one point in time, and, you know, when the Errol Spence fight was getting mentioned and talked about and, you know, signed, you know, I just felt like he just did a lot of fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, you know, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. You know, I just know, you know, character take you a long way, and I just don't agree with the character, you know what I mean, actions.
Eddie Hearn's remark that Terence Crawford should consider retiring shows how divided the boxing world is about his future. Hearn respects that Crawford's legacy is already secure. He's conquered multiple weight classes, defeated top-level opponents, and proved himself as one of the sport's all-time greats. Stepping away now would preserve that image forever, just like many legendary champions before him. Still, Hearn acknowledges the financial appeal. With Saudi money and big crossover events shaping modern boxing, Crawford could earn record-breaking paydays even if the fights don't add much to his legacy. The pull between legacy and money is real, and Hearn understands that balance better than most in the business.
Someone said the other day, and it's very true, because I actually said it about Usyk, we've got a real tendency, haven't we, to kind of try and retire people off. Do you know what I mean? Like I said with Usyk, I think now he should retire. And everyone's like, why do you want him to retire? It's like, I just think it's a great way to go out. I actually also think that Crawford could move down and win a world title at 160, and that would make him, what, 6 division champ? 5? 35, 40, 47, 54, 6 division champion. But the problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want to fight for big money, and there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money. So Shakur, he was obviously very close to him, seemed to say, so maybe.
Floyd Schofield believes Terence Crawford should step away from the sport while he's still on top. He feels Crawford has already achieved everything that defines greatness, becoming a pound-for-pound champion, winning titles in multiple divisions, and defeating the best of his era. Schofield isn't questioning Crawford's talent or legacy, he's simply warning that continuing could bring unnecessary risk. He adds that if Crawford does return, it should only be against young, hungry fighters like Virgil Ortiz or Frank Martin, representing a new generation eager to test him. Still, Schofield's words come from respect. He recognizes that Crawford has nothing left to prove and says retiring now would keep his legacy untarnished and perfectly preserved.
Virgil or Duran, I feel like those are both great fights, but those are fights we just gotta see. We just gotta see those fights before. I feel like those are the only 2 fights I would entertain.
Not a rematch, maybe a rematch with Crawford and Canelo?
I feel like it wasn't close enough. It wasn't close enough.
Valid?
If it was close, maybe, but it just was like, it wasn't close.
This topic keeps sparking intense debates among boxing fans. The idea of a prime Floyd Mayweather facing a prime Terence Crawford dominates online talk because both were complete masters of their time. Mayweather's defensive brilliance and sharp ring IQ made him nearly impossible to hit, while Crawford's ability to adapt and finish fights has made him dominant in every challenge. But reality tells a different story. Mayweather is well past his prime and no longer has the same reflexes or endurance. A fight today would be more about entertainment than a true contest. That's why many call it a different era matchup, a fantasy that will likely stay just a dream.
Everybody, so this is a good question that the ring put out. So Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather, a fantasy fight that will never happen. Now, this is a really good question. Who will win between these two? Me personally, if this was old Floyd Mayweather, I'm gonna say pretty boy Floyd, I'm talking about like the younger version of Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather wins. You're talking probably prime Floyd Mayweather versus prime Terence Crawford. You could see Floyd Mayweather beating Terence Crawford, but you're talking about money Floyd versus Terence Crawford. I see Terence Crawford stopping him in the later rounds due to Floyd Mayweather's passive style and Philly shell. I believe he'll melt. Terence Crawford would just break him, I think. People forget what Manny Pacquiao was able to do on Floyd Mayweather, have success with him certain parts of the fight, and people just need to see, Floyd Mayweather's, I would say, fights, later down the years. I think Crawford would just be able to break that defense. I don't know. The thing is about Terence Crawford, he has a very, very awkward style, very awkward foot movement, footwork. This is the thing. A lot of people were thinking, no, nobody beats Floyd. Or if you try to compare somebody else, no, this man will beat Floyd. Floyd would beat everybody. I don't think it's a case of Terence Crawford, everybody. I think Terence Crawford would have been the man to actually beat Floyd. Honestly, for what he did to Canelo Alvarez, he beat a 168 Canelo Alvarez. 168 Canelo Alvarez.
At 168, Canelo Alvarez remains a key reference point, but analysts note that stats and titles alone don't define greatness in a head-to-head sense. Floyd Mayweather's 50-0 record and longevity across generations are achievements few can match. Terence Crawford, meanwhile, has become undisputed in multiple divisions, something Floyd never did during his career. Comparing the two isn't simple because their eras, opponents, and opportunities were different. Mayweather's legacy is marked by global stars and massive pay-per-view success, while Crawford stands out for dominant, conclusive wins. Experts point out that being more accomplished on paper doesn't necessarily mean being the better fighter. It all comes down to context, style, and timing.
Versus Terence Crawford is the topic of this video, and someone posted this: number of world champion fighters beaten, Floyd with 23, Terence with only 11. But my response to this is, being more accomplished does not mean you're better than someone. By example, Canelo has 18 former world champions beaten, Terence has 11. So you could argue that Canelo's more accomplished. Meanwhile, Terence just whooped him over the course of 12 rounds over the weekend. We all saw it. Plus, more accomplished fighters lose to lesser accomplished fighters all the time, so that's a bad argument. Let's talk skill for skill. Terence Crawford has knockout power in both hands. He can switch stances. He's not a stationary target. He has good footwork. He knows how to counterpunch. He knows how to fight on the outside and on the inside. He can make it dirty. He knows how to box and he knows how to fight. There's a difference. Guys like Shakur Stevenson, for example, they know how to box. When it comes to actually getting down and dirty, the jury is still out on one Shakur Stevenson, just by example. Terence Crawford, I think, if you look at the names on Floyd's list here, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo, Marcos Maidana, Cotto, and the list goes on and on, I think Terence Crawford has a shot at beating all those guys. I don't think anybody on that list jumps off the page and goes, oh my God, I think he smokes Terence Crawford. You can't say that about anybody on any of these guys' lists and names here. So yeah, that's my take on this, man. Maybe the only guy is Gennady Golovkin. I could see Gennady Golovkin giving Terence a really hard fight, especially at that weight. But remember, Canelo lost to Gennady. Gennady shouldn't even be on this list. He's only on the list because the judges are in Canelo's back pocket. So, that's a whole nother argument. But yeah, that's my take on this, guys. Skill for skill, Terence Crawford might be one of the best of all time, and that's okay. It's okay to accept that, guys. It's fine. Let me know what you think in the comments below, whether you agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. Just join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.
Zab Judah's opinion carries real weight because he's faced Mayweather in the ring and knows what it takes to perform at that level. By calling Terence Crawford the king of today's era, Judah highlights that every generation has its own standout fighter. He even reminded fans that Canelo Alvarez once hinted Crawford might be better than Floyd, a comment that fueled endless debate. To Judah, Crawford's dominance across multiple divisions proves his all-around greatness. Unlike many fighters who struggle when moving up in weight, Crawford has maintained his power, timing, and calm under pressure. Judah's praise feels like a passing of the torch, recognizing that while Floyd ruled his era, Crawford now holds that crown.
Knock him out, you know what I'm saying? The size will be a factor. None of that was nothing.
How did you score it?
Huh?
How did you score the fight?
I think I gave Canelo about 3 rounds. About
Really?
3 rounds. Yeah, about 3 rounds. How did you score? You just score what? Sound about fair?
What's that?
Sounds about right?
I had it closer, but there's loads of different scores.
Okay, 2 rounds.
You gave him 2 rounds.
I had 2 rounds. Yeah, he ain't do anything. I gave him a possible 3 rounds. So it's like playing space. We gave him 2 impossible.
Where did you put him in the all-time list? 5-weight world champion, 3-weight undisputed, Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford.
He's number 1 right now. He's number 1. This is his generation. This is his timeline. He is the king right now.
Just seen in the press conference, Canelo said that Crawford's better than Mayweather. What did you think?
He's not lying. He fought him. He should know. How can somebody tell somebody that fought both of these guys, that he knows?
Yeah.
If anybody would know, Canelo would know.
What do you think's next for both?
I don't know.
Too early? You like to see a rematch?
Not very nice. Rematches always sound good. But in a rematch, it'll be the same thing.
Yeah. Cool.
Matter of fact, in a rematch, I'm predicting topics earlier.
Yeah.
I
think
so too. Yeah, I think so.
Sup?
My boys are dogs, trust me.
Thank you.
That's right.
Crawford pointed out that Canelo's opinion carries more weight than most fans or analysts because he's experienced both fighter styles firsthand. Still, Crawford stressed that the situations were completely different. Floyd faced Canelo when he was young, inexperienced, and still developing, while Crawford fought him as a seasoned champion at super middleweight. That difference in timing, he said, changes everything in boxing. To Crawford, defeating an experienced Canelo means something different than Mayweather's win over a younger version. By highlighting this, Crawford defends his own victory while showing respect for the history of Mayweather's achievement.
So a lot of people, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. One where he felt like he was at the best, and another where he felt like he was at a disadvantage when he had a rehydration clause and he was younger. So, I don't know, I don't go off of that. Floyd is the best fighter, in his era, and I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
One thing that I thought was really interesting about the fight, I always love watching you switch stances as effortlessly as you do. You didn't do that a lot in this fight. You didn't have to. Were you expecting not to have to?
No, I felt like I could have, but why do something when something else is working?
Easy answer.
Jeff Mayweather's defense of Floyd centers on the idea that many people ignore the context behind career comparisons. When Floyd fought Canelo, he was already past his physical prime and depended more on experience, timing, and ring IQ than on speed or power. Even so, he completely shut down a dangerous young fighter, a fact Jeff says should never be overlooked. He argues that comparing Floyd's version of Canelo to Crawford's is unfair because both fighters were at very different stages in their careers. Jeff's comments underline how boxing history is often judged without truly considering the circumstances surrounding each fight.
Canelo, that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other 2 judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20 something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
a man that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
how you at the top of your career in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose? I mean,
Your prime is in your 20s.
it's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, and that's why Canelo was saying what he's saying.
I mean, don't you? I
To
mean,
make himself look like he did.
Buddy McGirt perfectly summed up what makes Terence Crawford special. He noted how Crawford dictated every part of the fight, the pace, the distance, and the exchanges, from beginning to end. Unlike most of Canelo's previous opponents who fell into his rhythm, Crawford never let him take control. McGirt said that level of command reminded him of how Floyd used to outsmart his rivals, though Crawford brought his own edge with sharper aggression and killer instinct. To McGirt, this wasn't just another victory. It was a clear statement that Crawford deserves a place among the greatest technical fighters in boxing history.
Yes.
Like, what fight were they watching?
Right.
I mean, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know what some of these guys be doing in this game, man. Some people, in situations like that, they should ask them, listen, just turn in your license, bro. Because there's no way in hell the fight was that close.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. It's just, it's not fair. It's not fair. You get a guy like Terence got here and dominate from beginning to end, and then you find out he needed the last 2 rounds to win. That's scary, man.
It is, and you see how you just mentioned scary. Now, a lot of people are saying, buddy, that type of beating, he's not going to want a rematch. But looking at those gold cards and knowing that, hey, you wasn't too far behind, even though, he did mention that, he's better than Mayweather. But, I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like that was such a beating that Canelo wouldn't want a rematch?
No, I think that, in all honesty, personally, I think that Canelo's at that stage in his career right now, that it's a rematch he don't need. He don't need it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? What we saw that night, that's the stage Canelo's at right now. I mean, he's fought everybody, he's did everything, but you know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy. You know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy. You know what I mean? He lost it to Terence fair and square, and he passed the torch. So if you're gonna have another fight, cool, but you don't need to. He has nothing to prove. He fought.
The analyst noted that Floyd Mayweather's charisma and his skill at playing both hero and villain turned him into a global superstar. His unbeaten record carried huge appeal, drawing fans who either admired his mastery or hoped to see him lose. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, has never been a major pay-per-view attraction, but experts argue that this doesn't lessen his greatness in the ring. Many even believe Crawford's natural talent could surpass Floyd's, pointing to his ability to switch stances, control distance, and finish fights with precision. While Mayweather was known for his defense and caution, Crawford is just as smart but far more aggressive, making him harder to beat and more thrilling to watch.
Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Who wins this fight? I'm going with Terence Crawford, and I don't think that's unpopular or crazy to say. I think most people will agree with me. I understand Floyd Mayweather has a lot of fans out there, but the truth is, as great as Floyd Mayweather is, Terence Crawford is one of one. And I say that because who else has knockout power in both hands, is able to switch stances between orthodox and southpaw so seamlessly while having great footwork? It's not like Terence Crawford is some stationary target or a flat-footed fighter that's going to be chasing Floyd around. Terence Crawford knows how to cut the ring off. He has tremendous ring IQ, and not only is he a great boxer, but he's a great fighter. He'll be able to make it dirty. If he is on the inside with Floyd, that power will carry him far. And I just don't see how Floyd will be able to beat a Terence Crawford. I really don't see it. I understand Floyd's defense is incredible, but he is smaller than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford would have a significant reach advantage on Floyd Mayweather. I believe Terence Crawford would also be taller than Floyd Mayweather, as well as all the skillful and technical aspects of what I just laid out prior. So I don't understand how anybody could pick Floyd Mayweather to beat Terence Crawford. Styles make fights. And I believe Terence has the style to beat one Floyd Mayweather. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates and insights right here on Fighters Corner, your home for everything related to Terence Crawford.